member who's gone through the Co-op Academy. This is Mr. William Cerf.
I'm William Cerf.
Hi. You should ask him about, his Bonnie.
Nice
to meet you.
Sorry, Manera.
Manera, pleasure.
Nice to meet you.
I'm just trying to direct the conversation. He completed Co-op Academy. He's chosen his cooperative he'd like to start. Okay. And I know he could expound on, how he thought the experience was, but also about the steps that he's taken to actually form this cooperative. So I'll leave you in his hands. Thank you.
So we had to start about Co-op Academy. Could you tell us briefly what Co-op Academy is?
Sure. Let's see, what I'd like to do
You want to sit or something over here?
Yeah, that's fine.
There's a lot of material that I want to cover with you guys this morning. So we're going to first of all start out with the concept of worker ownership. In our society, capitalistic society, there are corporations that rent labor. Okay? You and I who are workers, basically they rent our labor for as little as they can get away with it. Okay? So the concept that I'm interested in is a concept called worker ownership. And in the early 1950s, there was a Catholic priest whose name, we shortened it to Arismendi. There was a longer name than that. But he founded a cooperative business called Mondragon. And this is the basis for the worker ownership movement throughout the world. And it's just beginning in the last few years to enter the United States. The website I'd like to give you is www.usworker.coop. That is the United States Federation of Worker Cooperatives. You might want to contact them. The reason I'm giving you this kind of background information is because that's, if you're going to begin to understand, Co-op Academy doesn't exist in a vacuum. It exists as part of two greater movements. One of which is empowering workers, bailing out people in the longer sense of the word, but also doing all of this in a sustainable fashion. We're talking about recycling building materials from old construction sites. We're talking about getting food from less than 100 miles away, using fresh fruits and vegetables in season. So there's a lot involved in this. And I should give you my telephone number and email address.
That'd be great.
Any further conversation or any further articles or whatever, I'm available.
Okay.
So my name is William Cerf, C-E-R-F. And my telephone number is 718-928-3860. And my email address is william.cerf@gmail.com. So now I'm going to introduce you to a couple of different organizations, but the first one we're going to introduce you to is Greenworker Cooperatives. Greenworker Cooperatives was started a few years ago by a man named Omar Freya, and hopefully you'll get a chance to interview at a later date. We just started just about a month ago, really. The first part of March.
That was the first academy?
That was the first
semester?
Okay. That was the first session, the first 4-week session, what we call Co-op Academy 1.
There we go.
Now, when you start, there are two ways of looking at the way that we generate income. Some of us who have been trained and maybe have a certain class background, a lot of this has to do with race and class, okay? So some of us who have a certain racial and class background are taught to think as what the common term now is entrepreneur or small business person. And we're the ones who take risks, start a business, do all of that. And then we go out and we rent labor. That is, we rent people's time for as cheap as we can get it. And we don't care anything about the people. We don't particularly care whether we're nice to them or not. None of that matters. What matters is I'm in the business of installing cabinetry. And I'm going to hire people, I don't care where they came from, how they got here, legal, illegal, whatever. And I just want them to install cabinets. That's all I want to do, and I want to pay them as little as I can. And if I can pay them $4 an hour and they don't like, I'm going to do that. The minimum wage, we all know, is $5 and change. But, I'll pay them as little as I can because I'm a capitalist. Another way to look at this, however, is that we turn this concept upside down. And we talk about the workers taking control of their workplace. And this is a very different concept because those of us who have a different racial and class background are taught to be employees. We are taught to do what we're told, don't take orders, don't ask a lot of questions, certainly don't question how they treat us. And but at the same time, we're angry because we know that we're being mistreated. So we try to pull one over on the boss. So when we talk about worker, owner, we're talking about a very different concept than either being a worker or an owner. So what we need to do is we need to learn some skills to be worker owners. We need to begin to understand, those of us who have the worker mentality need to begin to think of ourselves as owners. And those of us who have owner mentality need to understand that we're really workers and we want to work together.
So it's not just learning how to be a boss. You got to learn how to do both.
Right.
Or just to do everything.
We got to learn how to do both. So, and we also want to do this in a way that's sustainable, truly sustainable over the long term. Now, one of the things that we did in Co-op Academy 1 was that we read some articles about what they call little green lies, about how corporations intentionally and unintentionally are not really being green, but they're making out, they make noises like they're green. So there's a lot of hype out there about what is green. So one of the things we do in the Co-op Academy is we learn about what is really green. And it's going to take time to build a green society and to build green businesses. So we begin with a simple process. Construction sites, they're tearing out all these things. Everything you see in here has been recovered from a building that got destroyed. Now the toilets, the sink, the chairs, the cabinetry, the cans of paint, everything in here has been recycled. And then we can sell it. Then Greenworker Cooperative, which is Rebuilder's Source, which is a worker-owned cooperative business that was incubated by Greenworker Cooperatives. Am I making sense? Mm-hmm. So Greenworker Cooperatives is an organization that incubates worker-owned businesses. So in the first 4 weeks, we